Alright, so today we're not only going to be jumping into the Bitcoin price action, but I did find a new software that will give you some of the best analytics data for perpetuals and spot for Bitcoin, and it is 100% free. So make sure to stick around for that. But first off, let's cover Bitcoin here because it did play out exactly how I wanted it to. You can see here we have launched out of this green box that I've had in my chart for quite some time. So we can go ahead, we can take this box out of the chart. It is confirmed now that we have back tested previous highs back into support, and I do now expect us to finally hump back up to the 74K level and make all-time highs for Bitcoin. Oh, and I did want to mention I had a request to go over the bearish indicators that are present in the economy, and I will make sure to get to that soon. The reason I didn't do it today was because we had some crazy stuff going on the price action, as well as I did find that software that I wanted to share with everyone today. But yeah, just wanted to get that out there. You can see if we do jump in here real locally, I'm going to go ahead actually, you know what, I'm done with the money flow profile. We're going to get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to put in another periodic volume profile for the monthly time frame because I don't actually have that in my levels indicator, so I think that'll be good to have here. All right, so that should be all set. You can see this is our monthly profile now. So on the levels identifier chart, I have weekly profiles, which are these yellow lines coming out, the daily volume profile, blue lines, and now we have the monthly profile as well as the visible range profile over here on the right. Yeah, so since volume levels are the most important on your chart, it's always good to have every time frame possible because these levels are going to always act as, you know, support and resistance. You can see here, I mean, that monthly value area high was acting as resistance pretty perfectly there, but we were able to break through, back test it as support. So yeah, that's really good to see there. But what I wanted to talk about was this hourly bullish divergence coming in here. I talked about how we could have come down and swept this lower level to make an hourly bullish divergence, but I didn't really want to see that happen. I wanted to see the wick hold because it was such a good failed auction. Well, we got the best of both worlds. The wick held and we were able to come down and close hourlies within the wick, creating that 1 hour bullish divergence, lower lows on hourly closes, whereas we got higher lows on the RSI down here. So that's really great to see. This would have been a perfect long to take using my strategies, right? Failed auction into sweep level. Once you have candle closes above sweep level, pull fibs, swing low to swing high, and enter in golden pocket 2786. You would have been entering your position right here, and your stop would have been at the one down here. That's the most important part, right? If you are going to trade, make sure you have that stop. Make sure you have a good invalidation for your trade and expect to lose the trade, because even when you have an edge in the market, you're going to lose about half your trades. It's just about having that risk to reward in your favor. So make sure you're doing that. But yeah, perfect setup here. Bounced off the golden pocket and squeezed up through all of those shorts that we were talking about in my last video. And this is where things get wild. Jumping over to trading light now, let me slide Bybit out of the way. You can see I have some boxes drawn with this arrow. What is this? Well, this is the wall we were talking about in my last video, right? How there was a whale that panic sold 4,000 Bitcoin worth of perpetual contracts into price after it had already fallen because the S&P looked bad. Well, not only did he just leave his orders in the market, even though Bitcoin made a bullish swing failure to the downside and was no longer looking bearish, but you can't make this up. You can clearly see he removed his order out of the order books and then went full panic mode and then shorted the golden pocket. He shorted the exact spot you were supposed to be taking longs at. You can see here these 1,500 Bitcoin sell walls, 500 apiece, were clearly moved down to this level. And if I remove the footprint chart here, you can see these 500 Bitcoin sell walls did in fact get filled at the low, and then of course price did in fact squeeze on up. So yeah, I hope he was able to close out of his position in this range or something like that. Hopefully he was able to put his stop at entry, because at least he was in some profit by the time price got down to this point, so maybe he was able to put a stop at entry. So yeah, this is another good example of why whales don't always know what they're doing, and to always let price come to your order. Never move your orders to try to chase price like he was doing right here. And it wasn't only him. Across Binance, they were bottom shorting. You can see your open interest going up in both of these locations in here and right here, and the cumulative volume delta was going down during both of these times. So yeah, Binance was opening a whole bunch of shorts around the bottom here, and these shorts have not fully closed out. You can see we did close some shorts here, but the majority are still open, meaning that price right now sitting above this level has officially trapped the shorts, and it is more likely for price not to want to accept back below, because markets will like to hold that liquidity to use it as fuel to the upside. So while we may get a pullback to like point of control of this visible range, I would actually expect us to not want to accept back below any of these prices, which would untrap those short positions. So yeah, at a minimum, just based on the liquidity basis, we should squeeze up higher until we get these shorts out of the market. So yeah, to sum that all up, essentially Binance got trapped shorting the lows. Now I want to talk about the new software that I have come across. I don't know how I didn't know about it before, but it does offer some of the most comprehensive tools that I have found that are 100% free, and that is going to be CoinAnk, the all-in-one, all-for-free software that I have in fact added to my favorite softwares list over here in the Discord. Make sure to go join the Discord. Link is in the description down below if you are a trader or really just involved in crypto at all. I have linked all of the best software that I do use in the trading resources tab, as well as some people that I watch, and a great video on trading psychology that I do encourage every trader to go ahead and watch this video here. But let's go ahead and open this up. I wanted to show you what I'm talking about with this data you can get for completely free that most other softwares will charge you an arm and a leg for. And this is going to be my favorite part of the site, and that is going to be your liquidation heat map. This is essentially high block capital. If you know what high block capital is, this is going to look very familiar. It's essentially mapping out where most of your liquidity is sitting. Essentially, if price goes to this level, then you are going to get a lot of short or long liquidations, depending on if it's to the upside or downside. And this truly is how Bitcoin moves, at least on smaller term time frames, is that it will hunt liquidity zones. So as you can see here on the 3-day time frame, we have already grabbed liquidity to the downside. Most of it is now sitting up at around 72K. And if we go ahead and zoom all the way out to the 3-month, you can see that there is still a ton of liquidity sitting above these previous highs here. And I can almost guarantee you we're not only just going to grab this level, because as soon as you wick through this level and maybe let's assume we get a small pullback in here, that would create even more liquidity above this level, indicating that that 74K is definitely going to get swept. And you can see there's high liquidity all the way up to about 75K. So that's why I've been saying this whole time, like, hey, the liquidity is to the upside. We are going to sweep 74K. But after that does get swept, right after Bitcoin does go through 75K, if we do in fact swing fail back under 74K, it is time to be vigilant, because there is no guarantee, right? The liquidity tells us there's almost a guarantee that price is at least going to squeeze up to these levels to stop out short positions. After price does that, then it's just a supply and demand game. Are there enough buyers to force price to 6 figures on Bitcoin? But yeah, that's the liquidation heat map. Next up, you have just the liquidation map, and I think this is just as valuable. You can see here we have Binance at the top, and then an aggregation of Binance, Bybit, and OKX. Not only this, but I should have mentioned this even on the liquidation heat map, they have a lot of different pairs as well. All of your big market cap coins, they're going to have pairs to be able to see their liquidation points and that sort of thing, but I do not recommend trading anything other than Bitcoin. I personally would only be using these other pairs for spot positions. But yeah, liquidation heat map, you can see, I mean, the same thing. We've got a ton of pairs here, and you have Binance on the top, as well as an aggregation on the bottom of Binance, Bybit, and OKX, and you can see where these liquidation points are. If we go ahead, jump out to the weekly time frame, I think this is much better. You can see our walls of liquidation, and essentially these spikes are going to be sweep levels. Like if we were to look at 71.5, you can see here on TradingView, I mean, that 71.5 level is going to be right at these highs, where all of these poor highs were made right at the same level after we had the sweep. So yeah, you can tell just based off of your sweep levels, like, hey, this is where your liquidity is going to be. So yeah, that's kind of some visualization of how these sweep levels work, right? We have the 71.5 sweep level, and then same thing for each of these other spikes. These are going to be right here and right here. So yeah, this is an awesome tool to visualize where those liquidity zones are. And if you're not sure of where you actually put your sweep levels, this can help you identify those levels for you. Not only do they have just this, but they have a ton of just like inflow, outflow indicators, fear and greed index, like altcoin season indicator, high cycle top indicator, like just a lot of good stuff to use for your spot positions and more of like the macro for Bitcoin, figuring out where we are in the cycle and that sort of thing. There's a lot of good stuff in this charts data tab here. I will say though, like I wouldn't use any of this for trading. This is again just for like your spot bags and trying to figure out where we are in the cycle. And I'll also say that a lot of this stuff is not very reliable and is very retail oriented. Most of your big retail YouTubers like Cryptos RS George, you know, nothing against the guy, but he will be using a lot of these type of indicators, which some of them are really good. Like the Pi Cycle Top indicator, I mean, this is played out 100% of the time. Whenever this thing crosses, it's marked the top. So will it happen again? I'd have no reason to believe it won't. But when you're talking moving averages and that sort of thing, it's kind of crystal ball magic. There's no guarantee it is going to play out. So just take everything in this section with a grain of salt. But not only does it have all of these great indicators, like basically getting Glassnode Premium for free, you also get something similar to Trading Light. I will say it's a very janky version of what Trading Light offers, and if you do actually want to trade professionally, that sort of thing, you're gonna need a professional software like Trading Light or ExoCharts, but this does give you some amazing features. And let's say you do use ExoCharts, but you want to get the heat map that Trading Light offers, well, this actually will give you that heat map. So you could use this in Confluence with ExoCharts to get kind of the best of both worlds. But yeah, essentially I have some indicators that I put on the chart that I want to go over. We'll go ahead and take off these for now. You can see this is your footprint chart, right? So it shows you the buys and sells within a candle. Now the problem with these candles is that you have to zoom in so far to actually get the numbers for the amount. It's not very useful, but it can be used to identify failed auctions and that sort of thing. Let me actually go to this bottom candle here, and you can see all of these sell imbalances at the bottom. This is where your failed auction occurred, and yeah, you can clearly see that there's a failed auction at this level, and this is extremely useful information that normally you're going to have to pay for. But yeah, CoinInc actually offers all of this for completely free. And not only do they offer this footprint chart with buy and sell imbalances, being able to switch it from bid-ask profiles, deltas, all of the stuff you want in your footprint charts, but they do offer the liquidity heat map, which is the exact same as in Trading Light. You can see those 500 Bitcoin sell walls that were being panicked into the market we were talking about in Trading Light. You can see these exact same walls here. It is accurate data. So yeah, you have your liquidity heat map, which is awesome. Not only that, but if we turn on a liquidation map, this is similar to the liquidations we were seeing right here, but essentially showing it on a side view of a live chart as such here. So yeah, you can see a liquidation kind of heat map over here on the right to show you where some of that liquidity is going to be. I will say though, I prefer this format a lot better, and I would not really use this. I would just have this turned off. So I would just have that turned off. I'm actually going to turn off the footprint chart as well, just so we can see these a little bit better. And then the last indicator I have up here at the top is large orders. So essentially in the settings here, I have set this to $10 million, and it is an aggregation between Binance, OKX, and Coinbase. So you can see where these large orders are placed, and if you hover over them, it shows you exactly, what these orders are doing. And what's really cool is that you can see if they actually get filled or not. So if we wanted to look at, let's say, these 500 Bitcoin walls that were panicked into the order books, and we want to know 100%, were they just spoof walls or did they actually get filled? You can see if we zoom into this red box right here, you can hover over it and you can see here 505 Bitcoin was fulfilled at 67,300. Just coming down here a little bit further, 67,200 was another 500 Bitcoin fulfilled, and down here at the bottom, 67,100 was that ask order, and another 500 Bitcoin was fulfilled. So this guy did in fact fill 1,500 Bitcoin at the lows, and we now know that he is trapped, and we have his liquidity to bring us up. Obviously, we're not going to know if he has already closed out his position. He could have went ahead and taken the midpoint here and gotten out at break even from his 2 entries, but this is some great information to take note of. I know I will be using these large order maps in addition to the heat map on Trading Light. And then if we look at some of the stuff I've put down here below, this is just your open interest, amount of positions open on the exchange, and then your net long versus net shorts. So, our position shorting or our positions longing, that sort of thing. We can see using our net shorts that shorts were being opened at the lows down here that we already identified on Trading Light. But this is another good way to look at it. They also have these net shorts and net longs on Trading Light, but it's a community indicator, whereas this actually works better. And then at the very bottom here, we do have a bar statistics chart, which is very similar to the one on Trading Light. I will say though, there is really no customization to this. If we go to the settings, you can change the color of stuff, but yeah, there's really no customization on this, so I'm not going to be using it, but that is there. If you don't have ExoCharts or Trading Light, you can use that. In addition, you have the DOM over here, which you can set for, trade sizes and that sort of thing to see an aggregate of the orders being placed in real time. So CoinInc got to be my new favorite software that you can get for free. Make sure to join the Discord, links in the description down below, and you can get access to all my links, including this software here, or you can just look it up, coininc.com. I'm not affiliated with them at all. And since this video has been going going on for quite some time. I'm going to speed run these charts to wrap us up here. You can see Ethereum did come into this wick and fill the golden pocket I was talking about in the last video. So that all played out as expected. Jumping over to total 3, you can see we are wicking off of previous highs, turning them back into support along with that daily EMA. So that's also looking good and bullish. The DXY has rolled over here. We did find resistance at these previous low and previous resistance levels we were talking about in the last video. So that's also bullish for risk on assets. The S&P has shot up off these lows, back testing the previous highs into support, reclaiming these previous lows, getting us back into the range. This is really bullish, but we do want to make sure we can continue up here and we don't just flip this golden pocket into resistance. But the fact we could even get up to this golden pocket tells me more likely than not we are going to continue the parabola to the upside, and I would not expect this to roll over here. And the bear case is much less likely than in my last video. You can see this other chart on my S&P, pixel perfect into that green box. We do have a CME gap here though, so that's something to take note of, right? We could still come down into this box or do something like that maybe. So I'm not saying that's out of the question, but the fact we were able to get up this high and reclaim this range tells me we're probably not even going to fill this, and we are going to go ahead and continue to squeeze those bears to the upside, creating a blow off top for risk on assets. And that is where I'm going to end the video off there. As I've talked about throughout this video, make sure to join my Discord. Link is in the description down below. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.